Hello, I'm Theodore Whitelow for Breaking Through News. Since June 22nd, 2018, I have been bringing you guys updates and reports about an officer-involved shooting that happened at Chili's restaurant right here in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Right now, I'm in front of the Rockingham County Courthouse in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and I have an update on this case. In front of me, I have a press release from the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office of Rockingham County. It reads as follows. After an extensive review of all of the evidence and the investigation surrounding the police shooting at Chili's restaurant that occurred on June 22nd, 2018 of Thomas Beall Jr., I have determined that no criminal charges will be placed against the officer involved and the use of force was justified in this instance. Beall was armed with a large knife. The officer repeatedly advised Mr. Beall to drop the knife and let the customers that he had cornered leave the Chili's restaurant. Beall refused to drop the weapon or move away from the customers, and the officer deployed less lethal force in the manner of a taser. Beall then advanced towards the officer, still armed with the large knife, and the officer used deadly force to protect himself and the customers. As of right now, neither the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office or the Harrisonburg Police Department has said whether or not they have body camera footage of the deadly shooting. Now, Breaking Through will persistently try to obtain any footage that the HPD may have in their possession of the shooting, whether it's from body camera footage or from surveillance cameras, or that the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office has in their possession, just so that we can get an independent overview of what happened that day inside that Chili's restaurant. In downtown Harrisonburg, Theodore Whitelow for Breaking Through.
We have breaking news. Harrisonburg police shot a male suspect at 3:30 p.m. today, June 22nd, 2018, at Chili's Bar and Grill, located at 1752 East Market Street. Breaking Through had arrived on the scene shortly after the deadly shooting, but at the time, City of Harrisonburg Public Information Officer Mary Hope Voss could only offer minimal information.
So the police department responded to the 1700 block of East Market Street at Chili's. They had reports of a man who was brandishing a knife and threatening customers. Upon arrival, an officer fired their weapon. The male was taken to RMH, and I don't have any specifics on the extent of his injuries. We're still in the very preliminary stages of the investigation, and we're asking anyone who may have been in the area and left before police arrive to contact the police department and speak with detectives as soon as possible.
Any information as to how many times he was shot, how many times the officer discharged his firearm?
That's all part of the investigation, and we're still very early on in that, but those are all things that the detectives are working to figure out.
Any information on ethnicity, race, age of the suspect?
I don't have that at this time.
Was anybody else injured, police officers?
There were no other injuries reported.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are in front of the Chili's restaurant in Harrisonburg, Virginia, located on East Market Street. Right behind us is a preliminary crime scene to what was a shooting by the Harrisonburg Police Department. Apparently a male suspect, we don't know his age, race, or ethnicity. According to Public Information Officer Mary Hope Voss, a male suspect entered the restaurant wielding a knife. He was waving the knife around, threatening customers. HPD was called. At 3:30 p.m., HPD fired shots. The suspect was hit. He was taken to RMH Medical Center. We are not sure if the suspect is dead or alive. We're not sure how many officers discharged their firearms at this time. As we said, it's a preliminary investigation, and as we get information coming in, we'll give it to you. In Harrisonburg, Virginia, Theodore Whitelow for Breaking Through.
After we left the scene at 6:32 p.m. this evening, Eastern Time, Public Information Officer Voss sent out a press release. The press release stated that around 3:15 p.m., officers responded to Chili's Bar and Grill for a report of a man wielding a knife. The suspect was a white male who did not appear to be a customer. He entered the restaurant and brandished a knife while threatening customers. Responding officers entered the restaurant and fired upon the male subject. The press release identifies the subject as Thomas Alban Beall Jr., 31 of Broadway. Beall was transported to Centera RMH, where he was pronounced dead. The press release goes on to say that members of the Harrisonburg Police Department's Major Crimes Unit are still in the preliminary stages of the investigation. Police are also asking anyone who left the incident prior to their arrival to contact the HPD through the non-emergency number, which is 540-434-4436. Breaking Through will continue to follow this story and keep our viewers updated as more information is released. In the Friendly City, Theodore Whitelow for Breaking Through. Following up on our coverage of the deadly officer-involved shooting at the Chili's Grill and Bar in Harrisonburg last week, we spoke to the deceased civilian's sister, Peggy Foltz. For those of you unfamiliar with the shooting, here is a short recap. On Friday, June 22nd, 2018, police responded to a call that a man was brandishing a knife and threatening customers at the establishment. Breaking Through is not sure what happened next, but shortly after officers arrived at the scene, they shot and killed the suspect. The deceased has been identified as 31-year-old Thomas Beall Jr. Foltz said her brother was a good guy and was always trying to make her laugh.
He'd do all these little goofy faces or things just to make us laugh. Or like, he just did random things and to make us laugh. That was him.
This is not the first time that Beall has been shot. In 2018, back on April 24th, 2018, Prosecutors allege that Roger Turner Jr., pictured here, shot Beall in his torso at the Budget Inn on East Market Street in Harrisonburg. Foltz said her brother survived that shooting but had to wear a colostomy bag due to injuries he sustained during the shooting.
He had to wear a colostomy bag. He had to suffer through the pain and through the loss of, not being able to do the things that he used to be able to do. And he had a hole here, a big hole here, and a hole in his intestines was hanging out here. So yeah, he had a lot to go through, and it was a if situation, if whether or not they'd be able to put it back together, if he had to carry that bag for the rest of his life.
Court records show that less than a month before that shooting, Turner Jr. was found guilty of brandishing a firearm in a separate case, but was only sentenced to probation. Turner Jr. is scheduled in court on July 24, 2018, for charges in connection with the shooting of Beall at the Budget Inn. Foltz said that the Harrisonburg Police Department will not let her family see body cam footage of the shooting at Chili's, despite requests to see it. In September of 2015, after a standoff, Harrisonburg police shot and killed neo-Confederate white supremacist Michael Pierce Jr. Pierce Jr. was told more than 40 times to drop a shotgun he was holding during the standoff. He refused and instead shot at officers. That's when police fired back, killing Pierce Jr. Pierce's father began a campaign to access footage from the body cameras that officers were wearing the night his son was killed. And despite police denying him that access time and time again, in the end, his persistence paid off, and he was allowed to go to the police station and view that footage. So if this family really wants to see body cam footage from the shooting at Chili's, if there is any, it's possible, despite the initial denial to that request. Foltz said her brother had severe mental health problems, and she hopes bringing light to that fact may be able to help someone else.
With his mental health, he never got the help that he needed. He was supposed to, he tried to get help. CSB told him it'd be 6 months before he could get help.
Beall's family cannot afford to make funeral arrangements for him at this time. They have set up a fundraiser online and said every little bit helps. You can find a link to that fundraiser below this story. In Harrisonburg, Theodore Whitelow for Breaking Through.